What's up, folks? Sean the Average Angler, and we are bringing a video to you per viewer request. And this is going to be a bit of a jig breakdown, which jig to use when. All right, folks, thanks for clicking on the video. I really appreciate you taking your time to watch the videos I make. We're nearing the end of the year here, so Merry Christmas to everybody. I would love to get up to 3,000 subscribers. That's probably a bit of a stretch right now, but if you can help me get to 2,900 before the end of the year, we got 10 or 11 12 days. It's a lot to ask, I know, but there's a lot of you watching the videos that aren't subscribed. So if I just got a small percentage of you to subscribe to the channel, it'd be greatly appreciated and really help the channel out. We got great things coming in 2025. Thanks again. The button's right there. It's free. So I have 4 or 5 jigs laid out in front of me. Okay, that'll pretty much cover the gamut. Now, just to get this out of the way in the beginning, this time of year, if I only have one, it would be California Res Lures 1/2 ounce. This one's a 3/8. It would be a 1/2 ounce, okay? I have one rigged for you right here. And I would have that twin tail Yamamoto Grub on the back. This is typically what I do to the skirt this time of year. If you look at that skirt, you'll see it's kind of chopped up a bit. So it makes it puff out a little more, okay? All right, so let's get into it. Let's just start at the beginning. These first two, pretty much interchangeable. And I'll tell you what the difference is as we get to them. The first one is going to be the little Keitech Finesse jig that I think so many of us know about. And I didn't rig a trailer on this because, well, there's so many to choose from. And the Ned, just a Ned worm, is one that has grown fairly popular. But I also really like some of the Ned crawbaits. So you can pick and choose what you like, try different things. If the cross style isn't working, then try the Ned. This is not what I would start with. That's usually for me more of an adjustment. If I'm looking for a jig bite, say I find a jig bite, I'm catching them on jigs, and then maybe go out the next day and then they're not eating this jig. And you're like, they were eating this yesterday. Look at it, it's all chewed up. Well, that's the time where I may downsize and see if they'll eat it. I'm not gonna give it a lot of time. If they were eating the other one and I fish this in similar or same areas and I'm not getting bit, then it's probably time to switch away from the jig. But let me give you some other options because some of these other ones are really, really good. And I'll tell you, this being one of them right here, okay? And if you've watched my other videos, I don't typically fish them with a weed guard. So in most cases, if I'm not throwing into cover, meaning wood, I'm probably gonna cut that weed guard off. The key things here that you'll notice, pretty small hook. The next one you'll see is completely the opposite. This is a 4-inch Yamamoto twin tail Hula Grub. Color's purple cinnamon. Again, I'm gonna keep them pretty simple, folks. I used to keep black and blue of these or black and red. Nowadays, if I got muddy water, I'm just gonna go to a standard, this jig here, okay? Put an appropriate trailer on it. They can't see it well enough in the dirty water that this size profile is gonna make a difference. This one is really, really good for spotted bass and smallmouth bass. It will also catch largemouth, but I prefer the 5-inch. And 9 times out of 10, the 5-inch is the one I'm going to throw. This color on this one happens to be a watermelon red. So it's a little bit bigger. You'll see a much bigger hook there. This is, and I don't even know if you can still get them. This was the Yamamoto head. And the difference on it, if you look at what it did here to the bait, it has a pretty wide double collar there, and I think it was meant to expose the salt and rough up the middle of the bait. Perhaps Gary Yamamoto discovered that was better. Now, I hear it all the time of people rubbing or stretching their Senkos to expose some salt. So there may be something to that. And typically for me, as these are getting bit and chewed on, they tend to be better. So maybe there's some merit to that. Now, to go over why I would throw the Hula Grub as opposed to a regular style jig. This skirt is going to have much less movement than this one. It's plastic. It's the same material as the rest of the bait, just like a plastic worm or a Yamamoto Senko. It's just sliced up. So it's going to move a little bit, but nowhere near the pulsation and action of a regular jig, and then even more so if you got into a round rubber jig, which really pulsates and moves in the water. So you have poured jigs like this. Then we have skirts like these, which are silicone. The third option, which I didn't grab one, would be round rubber. And I love in the wintertime a silicone skirt with some round rubber in it. Just gives me a lot of confidence, kind of the best of both worlds. All right, now this jig. This is my starting jig. This is what I'm gonna practice with and start fishing from the start. Like I said, if I could only have one, it's this one, and it's this one for year round, okay? All I'm gonna do is change the freaking trailers. But I can have more than one, so I've got a lot. This is my everyday jig. I'm gonna throw all these in the same places. We're looking for jig fish in the same place. If you watch the beginner video, I really advise, if you're trying to learn how to fish jigs and get confidence with them, fish points. Go out and fish points and just jump from point to point to point to point. You will intersect the fish at some time during the day. Points, it's all about the fish are moving up to feed and they're coming back down. Not saying you can't catch some of them at their holding depth, because you can, but your odds really increase when they move up to feed. Okay, so that 1/2 ounce California Reservoir Lures jig is my choice. The other option, the round rubber option, would be the Bass Union Finesse jig. Same thing in the 1/2 ounce, okay? The bonus jig. I will pull this out if I'm really on the mother load of jig fish. Clear Lake is a perfect example. If I get on the mother load, I find them sitting on a ledge or a drop off. Maybe they're on a deep rock pile this time of year. But if I find those fish stacked up like cordwood, which you can do in the wintertime, I'm going to go to a 3/4 ounce, full-size standard jig. And you will see I got a Yamamoto Strike King Rage Craw back there. Now, this color combination is just, one that I picked up that I had rigged. In the wintertime, I'm probably going to go with black and blue a lot of times. Even if the water's clear, I know the fish at Clear Lake love black and blue. When you get going on a black and blue bite, it can be epic above everything else. Otherwise, I'm going to fish something green pumpkin purple is going to be my standard color. It's my confidence color. It's a fantastic color. It just works, folks. It works everywhere across the country. It's just a natural color, all right? So that's my breakdown. Post front, you got post front high bluebird skies. That's another time that we're probably going to reach for that 4-inch or that little Keitech Finesse jig. Now, as I mentioned the other day in the beginner video, this is the little Berkeley Finesse jig. It's a nice, compact, short jig. What I forgot to mention, I put it in the notes down below. It's power bait. The skirt is power bait, so you have scent already in the jig. I believe in scent, especially in the wintertime when we're fishing slow and those fish may inspect the bait a little bit more. Scent's not going to hurt you, okay? All it's going to do is possibly help. So that Berkeley power bait finesse jig, it's not my typical, I prefer a hand-tied jig, but that's okay. Look for these on sale. I don't buy them when they're on full price, but I do buy them on sale. They're great to go out and fish with. I don't worry about if I break them off, but they will catch a lot of fish. And that color is watermelon candy. It's known as my get bit color. You're gonna see the same thing in that Keitech jig, okay? If you're on a spotted bass fishery, they love watermelon candy. All right, Sean the Average Angler, thanks for watching the video. Like, subscribe. We will see you on the next one.